From the Midwest, a 2-12 matchup. Houston went to 3 straight Final Fours from '82 to '84, but have not been there since. Oregon State has not been to a Final Four since 1963. And we're underway. Houston controls the tip.
And we just mentioned how Houston plays defense, but keep in mind Oregon State's, they are not a slouch at the defensive end. Look for them to mix it up. They'll play some zone, they'll play some matchup zone and man-to-man.
It is Gorham on the inside, put it over Alatiche, off the mark. Ethan Thompson, he has been outstanding during this tournament. 20 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists.
And who's defending him but Giroux?
Giroux locked up Buddy Boeheim
He sure did.
in a Syracuse game the other night. Tried to dump it down. It glances off the hand of Alatiche. Early turnover for Oregon State. Grimes gives it up. Deep shot. Rainbow delivery from Marcus Sasser.
Well, one of the things they love to do is come down the floor, and they'll space the floor very well, looking to attack off the dribble as much as they can. But with that spacing, they will catch and shoot. Pretty good team overall when it comes to shooting the basketball and the catch.
Alatiche makes his move, a little bump on the inside, and he gets the bucket as Cheney absorbed the contact.
Well, just the aggressive play again. Both teams, when they make a move to the basket, it's clearly got to be an aggressive move because a lot of times there'll be teammates just jumping the lanes against them.
High pass, Gorham not a threat from out there. Giroux will set things up for the Cougars, who lead 3-2. They show defensively, swing it to Grimes, who is lethal from deep. Off the rim. Rebound fought for, and Alatiche having an excellent season, but an even better tournament. He just keeps getting better.
Because he's active. Both ends of the floor, and even on the offensive end.
Alatiche short. Got his hands on the rebound, then a fight for it. Gorham controls, and Houston's got it. Giroux taking his time, averaging just under 11 points, 5.5 rebounds, 4 assists per game. Off the penetration, bounces it on a kick. Extra, Grimes. Oh, the ball is moving.
So you're selling newspapers there for a second.
You read all about it. Giroux knifes towards the rim, knocked out of there, and Lucas has got it for Oregon State.
Yeah, just a little push now. This is where you got to find them. Oh, Lucas didn't realize it was coming in his direction.
Did not expect the give and go with Ethan Thompson, and it's out of bounds. Let's check out the advanced stats presented by Invesco QQQ. Oregon State, little background, 3rd team since 1985 to hold their first 3 opponents to under 35% shooting in the NCAA tournament. Mississippi State, 96. Kentucky, 2015. Both teams went to the Final Four. 1-point lead for Houston.
There's that little curl cut, well defended.
Grimes on a fadeaway, too strong. Rebound tracked down by Cheney. The transfer from Arkansas. Sasser, he's got a lot of confidence. Red Oak, Texas native. Mid-post, Gorham. Nice look, Grimes. Off the heel, controlled by Gorham, and another reload for Houston, who is 1 of 6 to open up. The pirouette, the cut, layup goes. It's Cheney, and Giroux with tremendous feel.
Yeah, and the ball was down that end of the floor for a long time. In terms of what happens with Houston, they put the shot up iron, and sometimes the best part of their offense is just going to the offensive glass to try to create a reset on the shot clock, really work them offensively, but at the same time they're working the Beavers defensively.
Reichel was looking for Silva, the 7-footer. Couldn't get it to him. Thompson using the screen. They show double. Alatiche in a crowd.
Nice double team.
They're going to run out of time. Shot clock violation against Oregon State.
So the shot goes up, and you better block out because they are really anticipating, and they do a very good job of that, understanding where that ball is going to bounce through Gorham that time, and it leads to a bucket.
This Houston team has locked up their opponents so far in the NCAA tournament, but so has Oregon State. Swing, Grimes rimming out. Rebounded by Alatishe.
Yeah, one of the things they are getting is they are getting their open shots. Generally, Oregon State will come out and defend that to the wing a little bit better than what they've been doing.
Air ball tossed up by Lucas, and it is out of bounds. Oregon State having a tough time getting clean looks here in the early going. Houston's got the lead, 5-2. Defense, the name of the game so far, 5-2 lead for Houston. Let's bring in the third member of our crew here in Indy. It's Jamie Erdahl.
Wayne Tinkle is not a superstitious man, Ian. So when the coach received a custom-made T-shirt from his kids before the Sweet 16 game, he did not hesitate to secretly coach his team into the Elite Eight. But his celebration with it was not so secret. That 12-16 signifies Oregon State picked to finish dead last in the conference. And those initials on the side there, well, that is of Wayne Tinkle's father. He can't wear the shirt again today, though, because laundry's a little tough in the controlled environment. It shrunk from a 2XL down to a schmedium, I would say. So I've got it. It fits me.
That looks like a schmedium.
That's a schmedium.
All right.
I'm with you on that. Wayne Tinkle, who was just outstanding when we spoke with him earlier today. Foul called on the inside. Gorham got hacked, but he said the resolve of this team, Oregon State, he's asked them to do three things: execute, play hard, and enjoy one another. And he said the guys bought in, the trust grew. He could sense the Cal game in January. He felt that was pivotal. They eked out a win, and he started to see some real progress with his squad. Foul was called on Della, who just checked in.
Yeah, and part of that, Ian, too, is that being part of a team that starts to come together and starts to win. You go through some adversity, and everybody has done that this year over the last 12 months or so. But you can feel it. You know, guys know that they're getting better on the court together, and it just starts to come together, the chemistry, and then all of a sudden the clock starts ticking and you start playing better in the tournament. And this one right here, your conference tournament, leads to this.
Beat UCLA, Oregon, Colorado to win the Pac-12 tournament, and then impressive showings here at the NCAA tournament as a 12 seed. Thompson gives it up, extra feed, rotating, rejected, but it was on the glass. So count it on the inside for Undella.
Yeah, that was that quick release. Now watch how he gets it, and he gets it going up there, and that ball just about gets above the rim, because if it gets it below the rim, even though it hits that backboard, you can still take that away. So it got a little bit above the rim, and it was okay at that point.
The wiry Dejan Giroux got in there and just showed you his individual defensive skills.
Watch the way they keep this ball moving.
Grimes can't buy a hoop from the outside. It's out of bounds, last touched by Oregon State. And Grimes is 0 of 5. Well, scan this code right now to watch live games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. They're getting a lot of shots, they're just not making shots. Giroux, the dribble drive, teardrop, gets the roll.
Does it all for this team. When he adds the offense side of the floor, Ian, he's just terrific, because he, as we mentioned, Conference Defensive Player of the Year. He locks people down, but still gets 11 points a game. And here's the defensive assignment he has on Thompson.
Ball fake, fade away. Thompson can't get it to drop. And last touch by Alatishe.
When you take a look at the way he just breaks people down, gets the shoulders ahead, focuses on the basket. Defensively, guys are starting to close, and a very soft touch coming through the middle of the floor.
And Jimmy, he bruised his hip in the first round against Cleveland State in the first minute of action. Didn't see him again that game, and there were concerns whether he would be able to play in the NCAA tournament.
And he's been on a roll. 9 out of the last 12 games, and he's scored over 10 points a game. So they're looking for him not only to defend, but helping out at this offensive end of the floor.
In a zone, deep shot, Sasser, bottom, a three.
Now, they're only 32% on the season, but he's a guy in the offense that they really look to, and they're confident when he gets the basketball to shoot it from long range. So a comfort level so far for Houston.
Gianni Hunt is in for Oregon State, and a turnover. Cutting to the rim is Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, two things happen there, right? You got the defensive turnover, you got the transition game going for Houston, and I think just as important, Grimes gets on the scoreboard with his first bucket.
Offensive foul on Ethan Thompson. A 7-0 run for Houston, and guess who takes the hit? Dejan Giroux.
And so watch now, he hides the ball a little bit, goes in, reverses it. Well done. And then here, watch the passing around the horn, and all of a sudden you get straight on shooting for Sasser. Pretty easy shot for him if you got that direct line, nobody in front of you. And I'll tell you, when you're Thompson trying to really get on track, if you have a guy like Giroux playing you, in your mind you're thinking every time you run around the floor, where is he, what's he going to do, and how is he going to affect my shot offensively?
Gresham came in for Houston, previous dead ball. Kalu is now in the game for Oregon State. Reichel sits.
And here's their first look at his zone right now. It has a matchup tendency, and interesting enough, they defended pretty well on the outside and really get to the shooters as they did just then with a hand up.
One and done for the Cougars, off the miss by Sasser. Thompson contested. That doesn't go. They're closing in quickly on Ethan Thompson.
Giroux's doing a fabulous job early on. Another floater.
Stop and go. Sasser had it negated from behind Alatiche. But Houston retains. Giroux. Swing to Gresham. Comes up with air. Rebounded by Kalu.
Pretty decent balance for Houston. And what they do is they get out on the perimeter iron. Notice how far they pick you up. It makes it difficult to pick and roll and run your offense against them because they're so far out.
Kick. Kalu, ball fake. Shot clock at 10.
Nice
Leave it.
passing.
Alatiche, extra feed, and a foul called. Undella is powerful and physical at 6'8", 248, and he is going to the free throw line. Tournament summary, the Pac-12. This has been just impressive what the conference has done. 3 teams in the Elite Eight, first time since 2001. First Elite Eight team, 2 double-digit teams since 2002. Michigan is the only team remaining located east of the Mississippi.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat right there.
There's a hand issue for Undella, and it's a cut on the bottom of his palm. So quick tape job along the wrist.
Do it, baby. No play-by-play on the rest.
Jimmy, you get very excited about tape jobs. Never knew that about you in all these years.
I thought you were going for it.
No. That's not in the contract.
Here's where he gets hit.
Undella, junior college transfer from Kilgore Junior College in Texas. And he knew it right away. Was just trying to put some pressure on it. Attended high school in Scottsdale, Arizona. He's from Cameroon.
Well, stepped away from the line. Shot looks good. You may ask whether that left hand will affect the shooting. It may a little bit, but keep in mind that that left hand really acts as a guide hand when you're shooting as a right-handed player. He seems to release that hand pretty quickly when it gets up right to there.
Stayed with it that time, but short. So Oregon State, empty trip. They trail 12-4 to Houston. Just over 8 minutes gone by in this first half.
Once again, the matchup right now defensively. And then they clog the middle of the floor as best they can.
Sasser moves the ball to Grimes, the transfer from Kansas, and the co-player of the year in the American with Tyson Etienne of Wichita State. Sasser, shot clock down to 1. Hoists. And a shot clock violation. Was not the prettiest of sets for Houston. Hasn't been the prettiest of offense on either side. Wayne Tinkle trying to mind meld. And it's 12-4 Cougars. This is an elite defensive team, Jimmy, not just in the tournament, but throughout the season for Houston. But in particular in the tournament, look at what they're doing to their opponents.
Absolutely fabulous lockdown from a team for Kelvin Sampson. The other thing during the course of the year, 58 points a game they gave up. But really, when you look at it, they have 10 more shots. Or Houston has 10 more shots than they do. They've turned it over 5 times. Just can't get things going at the offensive end of the floor. This is lockdown defense early on.
Kalu cans it. So Oregon State now has 6 points on the board. They have 5 turnovers in the first 9 minutes of action.
And somebody has to step up for Thompson, because if he's going to be run down defensively like that, who's going to step up and make shots?
Sasser off the back of the iron. Cleared up the floor. Post-up opportunity. Undella. Kick. Kalu. No. 42% shooter from downtown.
Yeah, the concern on the offensive glass there, nobody there at all. Just worried about Houston running it down the floor on them. They had to send 1 or 2 players to the offensive glass.
Fabian White Jr. is in the game. Takes the baseline. They've missed 5 shots in a row, and that streak ends there with White establishing himself on the interior.
Yeah, and White just barely held that left foot down, too. That was his established pivot foot. It almost looked as if he lifted it a little bit, but finished off the play down low. Good body action, good maneuvering.
Torn ACL in May. This is supposed to be a medical red shirt for White, and a bonus that he's in there playing towards the end of the season and now in the postseason. 14-6. Houston. Thompson stripped of the ball. It's Giroux. What an impact the New Orleans native is having on that end of the floor.
Yeah, and a little bit of a help from behind, too, so their teammates looking for Thompson also.
Near steal. Grimes sticks with it. Short. Long rebound. Thompson. Kick it out. Undella, not a threat from there. But Kalu is a 3-ball and a kiss to the sky for Kalu.
And so Kalu runs the floor pretty well for this team. Right side the first time down, he got a bucket. The second time on the left side, shoots it at 42%. So once again, get it going away from Thompson to get some other scorers.
14-9 Houston. Banging bodies on the inside. The twist and turn from White.
Yeah, White, you know, he's understanding where he's supposed to be on the floor. Another zone set just then. Houston didn't have any problems with it. Maybe a little practice the other night against Syracuse against the zone helped them out a little bit in preparation for this game.
De'Anthony Hunt gives it up. Tariq Silver in, and a hard foul on the inside. Ethan Thompson, the senior from Los Angeles, will head to the free throw line.
So get down the floor and get ready to shoot it. And Kalu lets it rip from the left side. And then pushing it down the floor. Here's the zone. Nobody sees him on the baseline, and White goes to work. Good little step across using that net as interference to finish it off.
The foul called on Gresham. Thompson is 25 of 26 at the line in this tournament. Tack on another for Ethan Thompson, the leader of this team. What Wayne Tinkle told us is he's become more vocal, and they asked him to be more vocal. He was leading by example his first couple of years, and they told him, you got to speak up.
Yeah, and not only on the court with his teammates, but he used the phrase the ambassador of the program. I mean, he's in the community, he's on the campus. Nice cut here to the basket.
Extra feed. Tremont Mark is in. Kick out. Short from Sasser. Tracked down by Mark, the freshman.
The offensive rebounds continue to stack up for Houston.
Giroux straight away. Wow. And another offensive board. It's White. Kick out. Sasser drills a triple.
Ryan, you could do the simple math here. If you're going to give 3 efforts, and we've seen this a couple of possessions for Houston, you're just not going to catch them on the scoreboard if you give them that many opportunities. They're relentless on the offensive glass.
6-0 on the offensive board so far. Their rebounding disparity this season is plus 9.3. Oh, nice find inside.
Play.
Undella could not finish it.
How about Giroux on that weak side with the help? I wonder why he was the conference defensive player of the year.
Sasser, no. And this time the box out, Kalu comes away with it.
Let's see the pickup here on Thompson. He gives it away. He's got to start moving without the basketball. Tough assignment for him offensively, though.
Giroux is just locked in on Ethan Thompson. He's a shadow right now.
Watch him. He's under the basket here. Now watch what he does when he starts to climb out. Where's the Giroux is right in his face when he turns. There's a nice little crossover, though.
Pull up pop, no. Rebound got knocked off the rim, and Houston controls it now with Giroux.
Good look down the floor.
The angle and the bucket counts. Reggie Chaney breaking free for a chance at a three-point play.
Yeah, I think Giroux has Thompson looking for him. Pushing the ball down the floor here at the defensive effort, and then they come back down. You just run the floor and finish it off. A nice start by Houston.
Coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship Elite 8 begins tonight on ESPN. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com.
Well, we've watched Houston go to the offensive glass, and they really have to go after it. 6 offensive rebounds so far, 7 second chance points. They get 14 offensive rebounds a game. They're 3rd in the country. Kelvin Sampson really has them going after the glass, though. Look at that rebounding margin that you mentioned a moment ago, +9. It's just sometimes you get lucky bounces, but you know what, Ian? You create your own lucky bounces on the offensive glass if you're moving your feet, watching the ball, and anticipating where it's going to go.
And Kelvin Sampson told us we have good balance on offense, but there are nights that we struggle to shoot it, and on those nights we just rely on our defense, rely on our rebounding, because they're always there. It's a constant.
So is this guy right here, Giroux. He's just unbelievable.
Silva hands it off to Hunt. And a short pop for Roman Silva. Old school big man at 7'1", 265 out of Rancho Cucamonga, California.
They don't post him up all that much, but he does have that little, out to about 15 feet, he could shoot that little set shot.
Junior college transfer, San Bernardino Valley College, the Wolverines. Snagged along the baseline and out of bounds is Gorham.
Little defensive effort out there with the deflection on the perimeter. And here we go, just a little pick, roll to a spot. Don't try to get too fancy. Bingo.
That just took you back to 70s and Duke, didn't you?
Don't start with me again.
Jim Spinarco, All-American for the Blue Devils. Run to the national championship game. Jared Lucas has been quiet. He was on the bench for a long stretch, and there's the jumper. Lucas, a prolific scorer, and I mean prolific in high school. 3,356 career points at Los Altos from Hacienda Heights, California.
And so important for somebody else to get it going on the offensive end. Here they go with that zone defense again.
Mark lobs it to Gorham.
And make the quick decisions with the basketball against the zone. Nice hands and deflection out front.
And a turnover.
And we've spoken about the Houston defense, but they can play it at the other end of the floor too.
Find the open man. Hunt goes down. Foul is called on the rebound action after the Hunt miss. And it was Gorham who extended out, and it's going to go the other way. Silva picks up the personal. Unbelievably delicious Coca-Cola flavors. They come in 4 flavors, which is half of the amount of teams we've got left in the tournament. Elite 8 action tonight from the Midwest region. Houston and Oregon State, 2 seed against the 12 seed. Winner moves on to the Final 4.
And you see some hesitation a little bit, but that not right there though.
Quentin Grimes connects from long range.
Once in a while the hesitation is, which is interesting, I find. That I haven't heard many coaches say this. They put a zone together and basically change it in midstream in the possession, and that's what confuses Houston once in a while. If you see them hesitating, they don't know whether it's a zone or a man-to-man that they're up against, because it's changing in midstream.
Alatiche doesn't get the roll. Silva tapping the ball to himself and saves it. Find the open man. It's Silver. Got a 3.
It's the big guy Silva working it though. You saw his hands, the soft hands to keep that possession alive. Finally getting some rhythm at the offensive end of the floor. They're 7 of 18 now. Not great, but better than it was.
With Ethan Thompson on the bench, just 1 point for Thompson. 25-17 Houston.
Yeah, when the ball is in your area, you're playing man-to-man, and you notice guys will point to the next guy who fills. Good spot in the middle of the floor, but well defended.
Mark can be slippery on those drives. Corner, Giroux, count it, a triple.
And they're working the clock. Oregon State is making them work the clock at the offensive end, and Houston is pretty poised in terms of getting the right shot at the right time.
Dejan Giroux, the senior who graduated in December, gives Houston an 11-point lead. Drive and kick to no man's land, but saved by the Beavers. Alatiche attacking and denied on the inside, but out of bounds. Reggie Chaney, last line of defense for the Cougars.
So here comes the drive and the straight up hand on ball. Well done defensive effort. And Mark just constantly taking it, pursuing it, and then what happens? Giroux fills his spot, knocks it back.
Game summary here at Lucas Oil. Houston leads by 11. Neither team shooting it well. A lot of opportunities, though, for Houston. 28 field goal attempts, 15 from three-point territory. The offensive rebounding for the Cougars, and only 2 turnovers, 6 assists already for Dejan Jarreau.
Interesting how you can shoot 40%, but if you do a lot of other things and you defend, you basically go to the offensive glass, put you up in a nice 11-point lead at this point.
Ethan Thompson back in for the Beavers. Trying to find an open man. He's going to go deep for Silver. Oregon State is the first 12 seed in the Elite 8 since Missouri back in 2002, and just the second all time. Alatishe gives up his dribble. Here's Lucas with 6 to shoot. Just can't find openings against this Houston D.
It's almost like there's 6 guys out there playing defense, even though there's little strip down and the foul.
It is Fabian White Jr., and it'll send Alatishe to the free throw line.
Watch the reaction. The ball's on the right side. Look at where these guys are all coming to. They all fill the middle of the floor for 2 reasons. They don't want you to drive it to the middle of the floor, and number 2, they're in better defensive rebounding position.
Alatishe transferred from Nicholls State in Louisiana. Wayne Tinkle said, "We watched tape. We knew he was in the portal. We thought he would fit exactly what we needed. A versatile big, 56% shooter, and misses on a pair. He's still developing, but a major defensive presence and improving offensive player."
9 double-doubles this year.
Not making their free throws, 1 of 6.
And they're a good free throw shooting team, too, at 77%.
White gets a touch. Count it.
They're starting to loosen up, shooting the ball down the offensive end for Houston. And Oregon State making a little bit of progress, getting their shots, getting better looks. But everything is a workout down this end of the floor. Here we go again, a little push down the other side after the turnover.
Lucas was trying to hit Silva. Instead, it's a cough up. Grimes, step back Jay. Off the heel, rebound is snatched by White. Mark probing, and now they'll set it up once again for Gorham.
And it just starts to wear you down at the defensive end.
Off the Gorham miss. Kalu with the board. Kalu, he has shot it with confidence so far. Ethan Thompson is still looking for his first field goal.
And it's an adjustment. Look at 0 defensively, right? He's out there, Sasser, all the way out beyond the 3-point line. I mean, you just watch the white shirts, how far they go out and defend.
Kalu with an air ball on the floater. Sasser picked up by Thompson. The Beavers starters have produced just 7 points. Sasser to the rim, and he draws the foul. Coming up, AT&T at the half. The guys in the studio will break down the first half. Look ahead to the Arkansas-Baylor Elite 8 matchup coming up later tonight on CBS. That is next on AT&T at the half. Marcus Sasser comes from a basketball family. His uncle Jason Sasser, a star at Texas Tech. Other uncle Gerald Sasser played at SMU. Both guys played in the NBA. Jarreau, after the short breather, checks in for Tremont Mark. And now Silva will sit for Oregon State. Zach Reichel is going to check back in. Another free throw for Marcus Sasser. When we come back, Houston has got the double-digit lead on the Beavers.
Well, Houston up 14 right now. Jarreau is really showing his skill level at both ends of the floor. A little floater to the middle of the lane. Watch him defensively. He trails the play, but gets back into position perfectly on the defensive side. Long-range shot, just mixing it up at both ends of the floor. No surprise that this guy put up a triple-double against Tulane in the quarterfinals of the conference this year, conference tournament. He just understands how to play, gets a lot done on the floor. I don't know, Ian. I think you may have to change his first name to D.E. This defense is all over his name, isn't it? Instead of Dejan.
His family's sitting over there if you want to talk to them about it. I think he's comfortable with Dejan, but
I like the Dejan, though, the way he's playing D.
You like Dejan in general on your sandwiches.
Very good point. You do not.
I do not. 32-17. That pass telegraphed, and Undella gives it away, and nothing is going right for Oregon State right now.
Little push on the baseline, too, to go against them.
Alatiche is called for the foul. So substitution here with De'Aaron Tucker checking in. Another big for Wayne Tinkle, and he's going to have a chat with Rodrigue Undella. You know, you think about Houston, they were on the ropes. Rutgers had them.
Yes, they did.
In that second half, looked like the Scarlet Knights were going to advance. Instead, Houston rallied, got the win, then dominated Syracuse in the second half. In and out. Rebound controlled by Kalu after the miss by White.
See, and they can't even get the ball down the floor quick enough before Houston gets into their man-to-man sets.
Reichel, they need it.
Yeah, and everything's contested. I have to give them credit. They contest every single shot just about.
1 minute to play, first half. Having a catch, Giroux and Grimes. Giroux facing Thompson. Wow. Nice find, and a foul is called. White leaning in. That's Giroux leaving his feet.
That was a foul because he's up there for a long period of time.
He's just gliding through the air. Get nonstop March Madness news, picks, and highlights from every game on CBS Sports HQ, the free 24/7 Sports News Network. Download the CBS Sports app to watch today. Fabian White, 67% shooter. He was a starter the last 2 seasons, and based on the injury, Houston had to move on, but they were thrilled to get back White, who gives them a versatile piece at that 4 or 5 spot.
And one of the things he can do is he can step away and shoot the basketball pretty well, which gives him another big that can step away to open up the lane for their cuts and their drives.
He has improved his range through the years. And Houston has now doubled up Oregon State, 34-17.
They just don't look comfortable, do they, at the offensive end?
They don't, and Kalu just bounced it to Houston. The Cougars can hold for 1. And Kelvin Sampson wants a timeout.
Good coaching, up 17.
Pushing all the right buttons right now. It's all Houston in the first half. It has been a basketball odyssey for Wayne Tinkle, 55 years old in his 7th year as the head coach at Oregon State, 15th year overall as a head man, 8 years at Montana. His playing career, Jimmy, I don't expect you to learn all this.
Thank you.
There will be no quiz, but look at the stops along the way for Wayne Tinkle on his basketball journey. I had 3 games of the Tri-City Chinooks in the early 90s.
I knew you did, and I was trying to barter with him to get some of his frequent flyer miles.
He's a gold medallion for life. Final seconds here of this first half. Giroux makes his move. Bank shot doesn't go. The follow knocked away. Gorham couldn't convert it, and we hit the break. Houston, another defensive masterpiece from the Cougars. They have held Oregon State to 17 points in this first half, and they've got a big lead on the Beavers.
This is a team that basically scores 71 points per game, the Beavers, and they, as you just touched on, they have been shut down.
All right, let's send it over to Jamie Erdahl.
Coach, could your defense have executed that game plan any better in the first half?
Well, you don't get any medals for 20 minutes, Jamie. I'm anxious to see how we do the second half.
And how comfortable did that make them, though, on the offensive end?
Well, offensively, I didn't think we were great, but you know, we battled, moved the ball, got some good shots. I thought Fabian White came off the bench and settled us down. Giroux was good, but 20 minutes, you got to play better.
Good luck, Coach. Thanks.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, Jamie, Coach, thank you. End of the first half with the Houston Cougars in front, 34-17. We'll send it to AT&T at the half. Coming up, you're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. The big dance in Indianapolis, getting ready for second half action. Houston and Oregon State. Let's check out the first half stats presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Houston, just tremendous on the offensive glass, rebounding in general, and all facets defensively. Stellar effort. Iron Eagle, Jim Spinarkle, Jamie Erdahl. Jimmy, Oregon State just looked discombobulated and no rhythm on offense. How do the Beavers get back into it?
Well, I would say that, 13% of their percentage of their offense comes from transition points on the norm throughout the course of the year. Try to get it up and down, but you really have to get defensive rebounds. You have to make sure they keep them off the offensive glass to get to that point. It's not a big number, but that's the only hope they have.
Let's check in with Jamie.
Wayne Tinkle told me that errors offensively led to too much individual play, and that's what plagued Oregon State early in the half. For the second 20 defensively, look for a little bit more man-to-man defense out of the Bees. He feels like that will give them better opportunity to get defensive rebounds, guys.
Think about, guys, who they beat in this tournament. Tennessee, a 5 seed. Oklahoma State, a 4 seed. Then Loyola, a team that we know that was probably underseeded at 8.
I'm not sure any of those teams defend like Houston, though.
Now they have run into a buzzsaw.
Nothing looks comfortable. There's a little reach in there by Grimes.
So Reichel got fouled on the perimeter. 21 seconds into this second half. Oregon State down by 17.
Yeah, and that would be the question I would ask, looking back into that first half. Did Oregon State ever look comfortable to you at the offensive end of the floor?
No.
I mean, I never really picked up a feel that we can score on this team.
Thompson forced to give it up. Alatiche, the jumper doesn't go. Houston will live with that. Giroux nearly lost it, but saves it for Sasser.
And when you are struggling to score, you better hit your open 15-footers.
Thompson is 0 of 4 from the field. Lucas has made just one shot. Alatiche is 1 of 5. Giroux holds. No rush here for Houston. Shot clock is down to 4. Grimes gives it up. Giroux pump fake at a J. And it's rebounded by Reichel, the southpaw for Oregon State.
Interesting enough, Sasser had 11 points in that first half. He outscored the entire starting 5.
Off the Lucas miss. There is Alatiche with a stick back.
It's got to happen at the defensive end to start, though. They've got to do a little bit of Houston to Houston right now. Slow them down. As Jamie mentioned, they're back into their man-to-man, hopefully to keep them off the offensive glass.
Grimes crosses over on Reichel.
But as the guys said at halftime, you have to find a body and make sure you keep them off the offensive glass.
Kick it out. Gorham.
There you go. Better job.
High arcing 3 is no good.
2 guys blocking out, a 3rd guy getting the basketball. Got to find some rhythm in this game for the defensive end. There you go.
Lucas on a dump down. It's out of bounds, tipped by Houston. Can they get Ethan Thompson going? Thompson averages just under 16 points per game this season, 20 points per game in the tournament, 0 of 4 from the field.
And the one thing about that, too, is I'm not so sure you run the play at him and for him initially. Let him work his way back into the game kind of in the flow of the contest at half court, because if you try to have him go one-on-one or set him up, Giroux is just way too good defensively to slow him down. So look at him now. I mean, he's just glued.
But a good facilitator. One dribble, and the floater goes for Alatiche.
Yeah, and that's smart by Thompson. Don't try to force a shot because it's not going to be an easy one, but release the basketball because most of these guys on Houston will be looking at him and giving him some attention.
Grimes swing. Giroux on a handoff for Sasser. High screen Gorham. Sasser working against Lucas. Sasser muscles it up and draws the foul.
So when Thompson gets the basketball, you know he's going to have one guy on him continually, and it's Giroux right there. Look at the defensive position. Terrific. But what does he do? He releases the basketball. Instead of trying to make something where there's nothing, make the easy pass, and then you'll get back into the flow offensively.
Sasser shoots it at 88% of the free throw line. Hard nose, takes care of the ball. He's got a big future here with Houston. He's learned from Giroux. American all-freshman team last year, and the numbers shot up. 13.3 points per game in his sophomore season.
Yeah, he's had 18 games in double figures with a high of 28, so he can be explosive. You look at his line right now, starting to climb.
And he's got 13 tonight. Half-court set here for Oregon State.
They're trying to get one into the post a little bit here, but it's being closed down.
Reichel. He is hit on a 3 ball, and he will head to the free throw line. It's going to be Grimes picking it up.
And we keep talking about how they go after, but this is just a mistake by Grimes. That's a simple and easy call for the officials. And it puts an 81% free throw shooter at the line.
Zach's brother Gabe plays at Oregon. And 2 more coming. Reichel grew up an Oregon State fan. Got the offer, took it. Wayne Tinkle said he's been Mr. Everything for this program. Leadership abilities as well, brings intangibles. Tremont Mark checks in, replacing Quentin Grimes. Grimes sits with 5 points. It's just 2 of 9 from the field. Reichel makes 3.
Any way you can get him. You take those 3 and then you go back to the other end, try to just slow it down a little bit in terms of these shots. Once again, keep focusing on that boxing out. Long shots, long rebounds.
Gorham way outside. Kick it out for Sasser. Using the Gorham screen, Lucas works through it. Giroux in and out. Rebound, grab by Gorham. Off the double, Mark lines it up, short. Rebound, knocked to the outside, and it's Houston ball again. Cheney.
Looks like the first 5 minutes of the first half again.
Offensive rebound after offensive rebound, more opportunities for the Cougars.
Double digits already. They get 14 a game.
Sasser short.
Oh boy, he almost had a hand on that one also. The effort there by Cheney.
Lucas gets it ahead. Thompson, the pull-up jump. Doesn't go. Rebound, bodies colliding. Ball ricochets, saved by Mark. And here comes Houston. Giroux drive and kick. Sasser is not shy and goes down for 3.
Yeah, Giroux is one of the few guys I can say this about. When he leaves his feet, he generally makes a pretty good play. That's really a no-no on the offensive end. Going off the, getting up in the air and looking for a play, but he's got that beautiful hang time and that 6th sense to know where his teammates are.
Catch and fire. Lucas, count it for 3.
Yeah, that's what they need. They need somebody else to get involved with this offensively. And all of a sudden, he's going to come up and play a little full court, or at least pretend he's going to do that. Pick his squad up a little bit with 1 shot.
The lead is 12 for Houston. Giroux, slick passer, decides to shoot that one, but crashes the boards and tracks it down. Sasser, the floater, no. Rebound, another one for Houston. Sasser lets it fly, bottom, a 3. How many chances can the Cougars get?
Well, they're getting way too many. I mean, this is not going to stack up well for Oregon State if they just can't get the ball off the defensive glass.
19 now for Sasser, and a foul is called as Sasser was there defensively, and it grabs his face.
Yeah, he bounced into the body, I believe, of Silva on that screen on the right side of the floor.
He needs a moment. Guys helped him to his feet, but Sasser still grabbing his head.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to sit there for a minute. Watch this coming across. It might have been a double hit just then.
Yeah, he got crunched in between the combination of Silva and Lucas.
Wow.
We'll step aside. It has been a long conversation for Marcus Sasser with the athletic training staff. He got his bell rung trying to defend right there. It was Silva with the body, but it looked like he banged into Lucas.
Yeah. I think he got hit on both sides, actually, as he went through that screen. And Silva with just a tiny bit of a slide on his upper part of his body.
Let's check in with Jamie.
Yeah, as you mentioned, guys, long conversations, but he continues to nod his head as assistant coaches come over and check on him. So looks like he will remain on the bench, but for a while they're hard time making eye contact with the training staff. But I don't think there is a cut above the eye at all. So they were just checking on his mental status.
And he got called for the foul as well. Jamie, 19 points on 5 of 10 from 3-point territory, now on the bench.
Have been the best player in this game to this point offensively.
Lucas makes a move, he's cut off. Thompson looking for an angle, and he couldn't get that one clean because Giroux was lingering.
Yeah, and Giroux just understands the timing of when to go after the block shot. perfectly defended, even though initially he was out of position just for a fraction of a second.
Ethan Thompson is 0 of 6 from the field. Grimes back in, hanging the delivery to Cheney, and that's blocked on the inside, but a foul.
Just in a different sense there, Giroux going along the baseline once again, using that the ability to go up in the air and wait for somebody to fill the middle of the floor for him, and that time it was Cheney.
It is Undella picking up the personal. And that's number 3 on the junior. A couple of free throws here for Reggie Cheney. Sasser watching from the Houston bench. Another strong physical presence for Kelvin Sampson. Basically looks to dunk everything if he gets close to the rim. And it's 42-27 Houston. 6 minutes gone by in the second half.
See what the set looks like. Half court here. Thompson just has plenty of room out there to direct the traffic right now.
Foul is called on Grimes, defending Lucas without the ball. That's number 3 on Quentin Grimes. Download the Final Four app presented by AT&T to help you plan, enjoy, and share all the excitement of the weekend. Available for iOS and Android. Ethan Thompson has 1 point tonight for Oregon State.
Look at this strong double team. One man in the middle of the floor to make sure there's not a cut.
Elatishe, off balance delivery, grabbed and scoring underneath Undella.
The one thing I liked about that play after he got that offensive rebound is the fact that he turned and focused as he was turning. So it was a quick release. He understood that he had a position and an advantage, and he took it right to the hole.
Grimes, silky smooth delivery from the Woodlands in Texas. Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, even with the 3 fouls, one thing Kelvin Sampson let him do. The last game he had 2 fouls early on, and he let him play it out.
Thompson draws the foul this time as he got the step going to the rim.
Here's a little bit of the floater and a good grab right here. And what does he do? He just turns very quickly and finds it. And here's where you have to find the shooter. Grimes playing with the 3 fouls right now, but I think Kelvin Sampson has a lot of confidence in him to play smart basketball.
So Ethan Thompson heads to the free throw line. Foul was assessed to Giroux. Gresham checks in, and he replaces Cheney. They'll rotate between Gorham, Cheney, White, Gresham, and we'll see Kelvin Sampson mix and match those bigs.
And also with Thompson at the line, well, he only makes the 1. I was going to say if he gets 2 to go, maybe that changes his mental approach, but it's going to be a difficult one.
Lucas a 3.
Pretty.
Got it.
Nice separation just there. Good track down on the missed free throw. And now we're going to see a little different look here. The 1-3-1, trying to look for a trap if they can. And this is just trying to take Houston out of their flow offensively. So back into his zone and slides. And they have to make a judgment. What are they playing defensively, and what do we run against them?
Giroux, count it for 3.
That works to figure it out. Very patient offensive set.
Thompson on target on the drive to the hoop.
Good reaction too. What did they do? They beat Houston down the floor. One of the few times they were able to run the ball down. It's only 5 fast breaks. As I said at the halftime, about 13% of their offense comes from transition, as there's a foul out front. But getting the transition is the problem against Houston.
Elatishe picks up the personal after Thompson got his first field goal of the night, and then it was Giroux who got wrapped around like a pretzel. Marcus Sasser back in. Great sign for Houston. And Sasser gets a touch immediately. They double up on Sasser.
See if somebody fills that middle of the floor behind that first wave.
Looking for the open man. Giroux. He draws the big. Undella. The jumper doesn't go. And some action off the rebound. Giroux playing defense on the players and the coach of Oregon State. Some Arkansas fans have already made their way inside here at Lucas Oil. The Cougars and the Beavers with Houston in front 48-35 and a steal. Thompson was called for the foul prior to the timeout. Lucas with the takeaway. Kick out. Thompson searching off the back of the iron, and it's rebounded by Sasser.
With as good a free throw shooting team that Oregon State is at 77%, I think it's time to really try to take this thing towards the middle of the floor. Houston has 5 team fouls right now. Might not be a bad time, Ian, to try to work your way back into the game with free throws rather than trying to do something difficult against this defense.
A bullet feed off the hand of Gresham. Turnover Houston. So the big picture with Oregon State and Houston, winner advances to the Final Four. Baylor and Arkansas coming up tomorrow. 2 more Elite 8 matchups with Gonzaga taking on USC and Michigan matched up with UCLA. .38-35. Houston has not shot it well in the second half. Oregon State has improved from half number 1 to half number 2 offensively, but still trying to dig out of the deep hole.
Yeah, and if you're going to try to get it going towards the basket, it was a tough shot. Contested again. Nice offensive rebound opportunity, though.
It's Hunt, the offensive board off the miss by Lucas. Ball fake. Kalu got a 3.
That's Houston basketball right there, huh? Shoot it, rebound it, although that was Oregon State that just did that to Houston.
It's 2 points for Kalu. His foot was on the line, and it's 48-37.
Back to the 1-3-1 zone.
Out of bounds.
Well, when you track something down off the offensive glass, we've seen Houston do this in the first half. You get a couple of open shots because it's very difficult to find the shooters.
Quick double on Grimes. Oh, that's a bomb. Sasser short rebound, and activity underneath between White and Lucas.
I think Lucas with the grab, he was just overmatched down below.
And Team Tinkle in the stands not agreeing with that call.
That's generally the little guy against the big guy, and that time the big guy, usually the little guy will win that one.
Wayne Tinkle comes from a big family, youngest of 11 children. Wow. 48-37 Houston.
Their defense is much better right now, but oh, they missed him on the quick one. They got it to him secondarily, but
high-low action. Gorham circles in for 2.
Smart play just then too. Gorham was open for a split second. They missed him, but he held his ground, and then when he caught it, he recognized that he was so wide open. It was a one-on-one play in the post.
Thompson, spin,
wow.
Negated. Dejan Jarreau. Jumper doesn't go, and a foul called. Kalu from the outside, and will head to the line.
Conference Defensive Player of the Year. My goodness, did he react well on that one. Even with the left-handed shot that's away from the defender, he crosses across the body to get to that one.
Foul is called on Gorham. 3 free throws for Maurice Kalu. Junior college transfer, Indian Hills County College in Iowa. Spent 1 year at Oklahoma State. Was dismissed by the program and then reloaded and ended up in Corvallis. Confident three-point shooter, shoots it at 90% at the line, and Alatiche checks in for Undella.
And once again, getting to that free throw line, maybe a way to chip into this lead if they can defend. They've played better defense, the Beavers have, in the second half. Wow.
So the Houston lead is 12, and Oregon State has not shot it well at the line. 6 of 14. Pressure on Sasser.
A little bump by Thompson.
So the foul called. Ethan Thompson will pick up the personal, and that's going to be number 3 on the senior. Played his high school basketball in Torrance, California. His brother Stephen Jr. was a standout on this Oregon State squad. Played at Bishop Montgomery High School. His father, Stevie, of course, an assistant at Oregon State, was a star at Syracuse.
This Oregon State defense looks a little longer and a little more active, too. Wow, good reaction.
Dejan Giroux is on target.
They just don't seem to really panic against it, though. They're patient. They're willing to take an extra pass or two.
Oh, green light for Kalu. It's off the mark, and Giroux will clear. Giroux is always going to flirt with a triple-double because he produces in every category in the box score.
7 and 7 with rebounds and assists at this point.
And 10 points. Yep. Teardrop doesn't go for Sasser. Gorham with the offensive board. We are under 9 minutes to play with Houston up by 14. The cross by Giroux. Send it inside, back in by Gorham. Turns and take it away.
Right down the middle.
The acceleration. Hunt lays it in coast to coast for Gianni Hunt.
Yeah, I like the fact that he split two guys right about 30 feet from the bucket and kept going. Why not? Make something happen. Got it to the rim, also to the backboard very quickly.
Hunt played high school basketball with Ethan Thompson at Bishop Montgomery, and Oregon State has cut it to 12. Looping pass for Sasser.
It's a game of catch out there, isn't it?
Shot clock winding down. Sasser missed it. Rebound Kalu. Foul is called. Maybe some movement here for the Beavers.
Now watch the reaction. Not many transition opportunities, but split it and go for it. Nice little extension at the very end of that play also.
It is Giroux picking up the foul.
And that's the 7th. They're going to be going to the line, so that's where they can chip away here.
Oh, we got some blood. It's Maurice Kalu. And sportsmanship as he walks off the court to the bench area, and he's going to need some assistance quickly.
So here's the activity. Yep, right across the middle of the floor just then.
Yeah, took a shot from Giroux. They have plugged the right nostril.
It's really just a swing, you know, whether, you know, flagrant or not. I think it's just a basketball play. He's obviously, that's what he does. That's the way he plays, going after the ball. Occasionally he will swing and take his arms and take a long swing at the basketball, but nothing dirty there.
So Giroux was called for the foul. Kalu smiling. Good size and skill from Windsor, Ontario. And Oregon State can cut this to 10 with 8:05 on the clock.
He's very good at the line. Obviously, you just touched on it, 90%. Team at 77.
Two out of two for Kalu. Roman Silva in. And a hug from the head coach, Wayne Tinkle.
Well, this particular possession right here, Ian, will say a lot about the rhythm and the momentum of who's going to recapture it at this particular point. I think this is a huge one right at the 8-minute mark, just a touch under.
Oregon State has outscored Houston 25-18 in this second half.
That was a kick ball.
Tinkle likes the effort. Applauding his group as they head to the bench. A timeout in Indy.
Well, Thompson is really trying to get his team on track, but he is being covered by one of the best defenders in the country. Giroux just understands what's going on. Not only is he a good defender, Ian, but with these couple of 3 defensive plays show me right there, he's done his homework. He's watched film on how to defend Thompson because he's really anticipating well, almost as if he knows what's coming at him.
Out of the timeout. The quick jack doesn't go, and Oregon State is going to get it with a chance to cut this to single digits. The miss by Sasser. We check in with Jamie.
Well, if you ask that man, Stevie Thompson, it is a learned art how to be able to coach your sons at the highest level of college basketball. And Wayne Tinkle has to work with him on that at times. He said at the start of the season, he actually went to Coach Thompson and said, just be hard on him for 2 weeks. I will be the guy to put my arm around your son. And it lasted about a day before he asked somebody else to be hard on his son. It's got to be tough, though, for these dads, but they just want these kids to elevate the way that they did in their careers.
And Wayne Tinkle can relate. His son Tress was a star on this team, leading scorer. When we talked to Coach, he said, look, I get it. It's a very tough line to walk. Ethan Thompson makes a pair, 52-44 Houston.
And a little bit of belief right now with the Beavers. And a little hesitation for Houston offensively against the switching defenses. Remember, now this is a matchup. It looks like a 1-3-1, but you'll see guys vacate, and then you got to find the next guy in your spot. And you'll see guys point. So wherever the ball goes, they'll switch it, and then you kind of, this guy here will come back and pick up Sasser.
Shot clock is at 5. Ball knocked out of bounds off of Oregon State. Kelvin Sampson imploring his guys. Grimes can't hit the 3, and it's out of bounds. Remember, Houston had to deal with the zone of Syracuse, and they did an excellent job against it. Now, by Kelvin Sampson's own admission, they had a week to prepare for it. He said the turnaround time was quick here against Oregon State. They knew they would see different looks on defense. Thompson, the drive to the rim, and he finishes.
Well, he got by off the drive, and then he had to finish. Now that bench is really riled up. Coach Tinkle is also. And they're sticking with this defense because Houston has not figured out what to run against it. What do? Do we go man-to-man offense or zone offense? And they just look like they're confused right now. Nice hands, good hands.
Deflected.
I want to make sure you get a good shot right now. Believe in yourself and get something good.
Steal by Hunt. Plenty of time on the shot clock. This is now a 6-point game with 6.5 to play. Thompson, pull-up pop. Rimming, no, follow, goes down for Silva. He's a tree in there.
And the tree just hung around. A soft shot that goes straight up, comes down, and all of a sudden, a little bit of a celebration at the other bench right there with Oregon State putting it to Houston in the second half. Here, watch the tuck with the basketball. Well done. Make sure you don't get it hit. And watch the upstairs. There goes the rebound, and who's parked there? The big guy to finish it off.
They have outscored Houston 31-18 in the second half. What's changed?
With no turnovers, number one, their confidence. And I go back to what Jamie, when she spoke to Kelvin Sampson at half, asked him a great question. He said, but we don't get any, you don't get any awards for first half wins, you know, so you have to come back and really play your second half. This is a totally different second half from Oregon State's perspective. I think you go corner, yeah.
Grimes, count it, a 3.
I'd go corner against this zone. A lot of times you want to go to the middle of the floor. I would go corners and bait them into double teaming in the corners and then release the ball. You'll have better action going corner first rather than to the middle.
11 for Grimes. We are under 6 minutes to play. 55-48 Houston.
Watch the double team.
Silva off the double. Here's Hunt. The penetration. And the deuce.
Beautiful, using that left hand again. The lefty using his strong hand. A little breakdown defensively there, not jumping that left hand and forcing him right.
So we've seen a whole lot of this. Giroux and Sasser having a catch.
Yeah, that's taking time off the clock, forcing you to run it a little bit quicker than you want.
Sasser, the teardrop doesn't go. Nice rebound there by Thompson.
What's changing also is that Oregon State is doing a better job on the defensive glass. We haven't seen those 2 and 3 possessions off offensive caroms.
Thompson circles one-on-one, isolation against Giroux.
Got to show the ball. Nice pass.
What a feed! And a big-time finish for Alatiche.
Boy, a whole different approach at both ends of the floor. Perfectly done by Thompson, not forcing a shot. He had to show the ball a little bit, delay, the cut works. And once again, what are you going to run? Go to the corners, I think. Get somebody in the shooters in the corner, but make sure once you get it there, if you get double teamed, to release the basketball.
14-3 extended run for the Beavers.
See, they're really not letting a whole lot in the middle of this floor right here.
Giroux got bumped. Sasser, shot clock winding down. Giroux tosses it up. Oh, he banks it in! Oregon State felt it was late. A heave by Giroux.
Oh, my goodness.
I got to tell you, live it felt a smidge late.
Wait, I don't know. Can't get any closer.
Dejan Giroux with the hoist. The officials took a look. The basket is no good for Dejan Giroux. Late.
Still has it as the 0 comes up. Yep. And one thing about the rules on this, Ian, they can go to the monitor and review that if the shot is made. Obviously, the shot was made. If not, they could not go to the monitor on that. So good work by the officials to get that right.
One major difference, first half to second half. Turnovers, 8 in the first half for Oregon State, 0 in this second half. Clear it for Hunt.
Yeah, Thompson continues to not force.
This is a 3-point game. Hunt forced to give it up. Thompson feed the post. Alatiche kick. Diagonal Hunt. Banks that one in. Tie game, 55 apiece.
One bank closed early, the other reopened.
First tie of the night. Giroux trying to loosen up this defense. Doesn't go off the window. Rebound controlled. White.
They get an open shot out of it.
Grimes. Yes, a 3.
Grimes just worked his way in. I don't know, Ian, you see him over on the right side of the floor. He knew it was rebounded on the left side. The pitch out. What did he do? He didn't stand out there 30 feet away. He got within striking distance. Real smart move by Grimes.
58-55. Largest lead of the night has been 17 for Houston. Under 3 minutes to play.
They're still looking for the high-low down. The big guy.
Thompson.
Oh, good move.
Pretty fake. And he got Giroux to commit. Foul called.
So here's that diagonal pass. Well done. And I'm not so sure you're really trying to bank it from there, but what do I know if that's what he did? And here's the answer by Grimes stepping in. See how close he was to the three-point line? He worked his way in and anticipated that shot. Smart basketball at both ends of the floor.
Oregon State did not shoot it well at the line in the first half. A little bit of a spillover now. The UEFA Champions League quarterfinals kicks off April 6th. Man City versus Dortmund and Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Stream every match live on Paramount+. 1 out of 2 for Thompson.
Yeah, an 82% free throw shooter has to get at least one of those after the first miss. And once again, the same type of look, just a little extension, token pressure out front.
Grimes lines it up, rims out, rebound. Gorham knocks it to his teammate. White gets it to the outside, and Giroux.
Another second chance opportunity, 16 offensive rebounds.
Giroux off the rim, no good. Scrap for the rebound. Great effort there by Grimes to dig down and get it with a foul call.
At time, Ian, they're throwing 4 guys against the offensive glass right now, and putting it up and just go retrieve it. Look, there's 4 guys in the middle of the paint right there going after the basketball. And Oregon State continues to have trouble finding bodies to block out because it's a big wave coming at them.
Kelvin Sampson said Dejan Giroux is our leader. You just saw it there. Encouraging body language with Quentin Grimes. Foul was called on Jared Lucas. Gets the bounce on the first attempt. He's got a really nice looking delivery. McDonald's All-American, was a big-time recruit coming out of high school to Kansas. Didn't work out there. Grimes ends up back in his home state.
Yep.
And now a star for Houston.
Keep that shoulders going towards the rim. Stay on the line. Good smooth stroke.
Houston 60, Oregon State 56. We come up on 2 minutes to play in regulation. Spread it. Thompson watched by Giroux. Alatiche turns. Back in. Nearly lost his footing.
Good hold.
Hunt, rainbow jumper is way off, and the rebound caroms out to Giroux. 1:50 to go.
Switch it to the man-to-man defense right now. Little adjustment.
Giroux.
Remember, they will switch it in midstream, but it looks straight up man-to-man right now.
Grimes makes his move. Step back Jay is an air ball. Caught in midair. Shot clock still winding down. Turnaround Gorham. No. Another offensive board. Fabian White. And a foul called.
Just totally incredible on the offensive glass. There's no other way of saying it. They just keep pounding and looking for the glass, and they're finding the basketball. Shot clock down to 4, as you mentioned, and White just goes straight up. He's not pushing. A lot of times you see guys push in the middle section of the body, or maybe a touch there on the upper, but they're both going after the glass. And wow, this is remarkable how good they have been on the offensive glass.
Foul called on Gianni Hunt. That's 19 offensive rebounds for Houston. Free throw no good. 60-56. Cougars.
You'd set a little screen action right now and find somebody to turn the corner. They're going to talk it over.
1:17 on the clock. Houston trying to hold on and go to the Final Four. Ethan Thompson matched up against Dejan Giroux. Giroux got the better of him in the first half defensively. We've seen Thompson loosen things up a little bit. Hasn't shot it well, but 7 rebounds for Thompson and 5 assists.
Yeah, stayed in the game. We got to give him credit there. He's 2 for 11. I'd like to see somebody put it on the deck, go after it, and put some shooters out.
Lucas a 3. Air ball. And it's caught by Gorham. Houston with the ball and a 4-point lead.
That was going to be a quick hitter for him just then, but he was well defended. He just never got his footing. I think he got bumped a little bit around the curl cut.
Grimes, the cut to the rim, gives it up. And a foul called underneath. Gorham was starting to elevate. It's going to be Alatishe.
And there's that drive. He drops it off. I'm not so sure about that one. That looked like a clean strip, about waist highs. And watch coming off the screen. Does he get his footwork down? He gets it down a little bit, but he's trailed very nicely by Grimes just then defensively.
So Justin Gorham heads to the free throw line, where he shoots it at 70%. So we saw the miss from Fabian White. Gorham has backed it up with a miss as well. And Wayne Tinkle making some changes here, with Tariq Silver checking back in.
I think you play hurry-up basketball right now. If you're Oregon State, get it down the floor in a hurry. Don't waste any time like analyzing what's going on. And if somebody could go through the Houston defense, which is difficult, get something going towards the basket.
Crossover. Thompson loses his footing, and it's a tie-up possession error to Houston. 47.4 on the clock.
They're trying to make a move here as he goes this way. And there's no Kylie Justrell. He gets tripped a little bit right there, but his foot came around the defender's foot and caused the problem.
That is the first turnover of the second half for the Beavers.
Now you come in, Ian. You want to make sure you play this here. You're down 5 points with 47 seconds left if you're Oregon State. You want to catch, and then you want a 3 or 4 seconds max for a double team, and then you're foul. Wow, that's close.
Timeout taken by Giroux. 47.4 to play. Houston has got a 5-point lead on Oregon State. This is an Oregon State team that was picked to finish last, 12th in a 12-team league, the Pac-12. And Wayne Tinkle's team has gone on a superb run in the month of March. Kelvin Sampson said, I didn't really know until January if this team really had what it took to make a Final Four run. He likes his group. He likes their tenacity. They're trying to hold off Oregon State with 47 seconds on the clock.
Wow, that's a tough pass. Now you want to get in there quickly, make sure that gets fouled.
Grimes gives it up. They get it into the front court comfortably, and no foul given initially. And finally, the bump is called out near midcourt, as Alatiche worked his way over there.
See, it's the picky part of it right here, Ian, though, but you gave up 5 seconds with that pass from the backcourt across to the right side to try to double team again.
And against their best free throw shooter.
Yeah. And he was trying to get it, you know, he's just about 90%, 89%. He was trying to get the entry pass to begin with, but they covered that very well.
Sasser misses at the line. He was locked in earlier to the tune of 19 points as Mark checks back into the game. Then Sasser took a shot to his head, was on the sideline for a stretch, and now is looking to make one free throw to extend this lead to 6. Timeout called, 38.3 to play. Looked like Houston was going to run away with it, Jimmy, and Oregon State has shown excellent fight in the second half, getting back to what they do and matching Houston's defensive intensity.
Yeah, when they walked off at halftime with 17 points, boy, they looked like they were just out of it, leaving the floor. There was no life, no emotion, and then they came back, and whatever was said in that halftime break really got them energized, and it was probably something that said, hey, guys, what do we have to lose? Let's get out there and play as hard as we possibly can. They cut down the offensive rebounding, but still that number just staggering on a stat sheet when you look at 19 offensive rebounds for Houston.
Houston 27-3, the first team to play 4 double-digit seeds in a single NCAA tournament. Oregon State the 12th seed in the Midwest. Sasser 1 out of 2.
With 38 seconds on the clock, if you can hurry it down the floor and get to the bucket in a hurry, take it. But if not, there we go. Here he goes to the basket. And he just kicks it out of bounds, doesn't he?
Loses the ball. And Oregon State has not executed down the stretch on the offensive end.
Yeah, that was going to be the quick here. They were going to get an opportunity when he turned that corner just then. Now it's a quick catch, go to the basketball, get your good shooters involved, and you get a foul.
Get it to Grimes. They try to ride him along the sideline, and then the foul is called. It is Alatiche, and that is his 5th.
So this is a nice set. He comes around the corner and just loses the basketball. You're probably going to get a deuce on that one right there, going to the hoop, put you down 4, and then you never know what can happen.
Alatiche fouls out with 8 points, 5 rebounds. And free throws coming up for the Houston Cougars. 27.2 on the clock. Cougars led this one by 17 at the end of the first half. Kelvin Sampson told our own Jamie Erdahl wasn't thrilled with what he saw on offense.
Yeah.
And offensively, this has not been a piece of art by any stretch, but it's been enough, and that's all that Houston is looking for because of what they bring on the other end of the floor consistently.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that Kelvin Sampson said to us was that he paid a compliment to the other team, the Oregon State, saying one thing I can say about them, they are competitive and they play hard, and if somebody says that about our team, which I will say that they play hard, it's a compliment for both of these teams the way they play.
Yeah, he said they play with no inhibitions.
Yeah. Watching
the tape, they know who they are, and that's what has served Oregon State so well in this month of March, but they're running out of time. 25 seconds left. 8-point lead for the Cougars. Thompson takes it to the rim and lays it in. Get it in quickly to Sasser.
Good free throw shooter there too.
Sasser looking, needs help. He goes
pass.
long. Gorham fumbles it.
It's intentional too.
It is, with 11.6 on the clock. And a foul against Kalu.
Is this awareness right here? Flipping that ball down the floor. The other part of that too, Ian, they just barely beat the 10-second clock too. Because remember, that ball has to be touched by somebody on that play. If it's in the air crossing half court, it doesn't count. So that was very, very close to a turnover, even though there's only 11.6 seconds on the clock.
And we've seen this from Giroux throughout the night, showing emotion, showing love to his teammates. when they make the right play. Gorham at the free throw line. 10 rebounds for Gorham. 5 of them offensive.
7 guys on Houston's team have offensive rebounds in this game. If that doesn't tell you that everybody has it in their mind to go after the offensive glass, nothing will.
(65-58). The 2 seed Houston 11.6 away from advancing. Giroux will go long with this one. Foul given again with 10.7 on the clock. It's against Silva.
And I don't think Kelvin Sampson is going to be happy with the second half, but he's got to be happy with one part of it, the fact that his team played through the adversity. Pretty good effort overall to come back and hang in there when it started to really shift against them.
You start thinking about Phi Slamajama and Akeem and Clyde Drexler and Michael Young and Larry Mishaw and Ricky Winslow and Reed Geddes. It's been so long for Houston. Final seconds.
That was good name dropping on your part too. That was a good cast of teammates.
Jump shot goes for Kalu. Now we'll get a timeout after the 3 ball with 3.5 on the clock. Well, I mentioned it. We've got it for you. Guy Lewis, of course, the head coach, 3 consecutive Final Fours, 82, 83, 84. Just seeing the video brings you back. Young Clyde Drexler and company.
Done. Nicely done, Clyde. We don't want to count how many years ago that was, by the way, do we?
We will in a moment, because it's reality, Jimmy. You're an older person now. You have 3rd-term senatorial hair, so you got to just accept it.
Off to the barbershop.
After the tournament, you'll get your hair cut. 3.8 on the clock. Smiles for the Houston Cougars. The inevitable is waiting. Kelvin Sampson, when we spoke with him earlier, he said, look, there's an appreciation. His dad was a high school coach. He told him, you win some, you lose some, and then sometimes you find a way to give games away.
Yeah, you do. And they didn't give this one away. They tried, but they didn't give it away.
It's over. The dream is alive for Houston. For the first time in 37 years, the Cougars are going to the Final Four. 67-61. Houston over Oregon State. They get it done in the Elite Eight. And they're the first team to the Final Four in 2021. Seven years as the head coach of this Houston program. Wayne Tinkle has been with Oregon State for 7 years. Both have been very successful. But for Houston, this is a culmination of what Kelvin Sampson envisioned when he took the job, that this could be a big-time program once again. In the 80s, they were dominant. Then they were dormant. And now they're in the Final Four. Saturday, the 2 seed in the Midwest will be a part of the action on CBS as they await the winner of Baylor and Arkansas in the South Regional Final. There's a party in Houston. The Cougars advance to the Final Four here in Indianapolis. Special time for the Sampson family. The Cougars are in the Final Four for the first time since 1984. It's Houston moving on.